talent around him and making all those plays. I mean, Michigan State was the number 9 team in the country at the time, and they just got after him, and so that was so fun to watch. And I could just imagine myself playing in that offense and thriving in that offense.
I don't know how much time you've gotten a chance to spend around CJ, but obviously he's entering year 2. He's more of a leader now. I guess what are your first impressions of him, and then impressions of Kyle as well?
Oh, he's a great guy. Both of them are great guys. I've been throwing out with Kyle. We threw it last night. We've been throwing like 3 times a week. It's been really good, but I met with CJ like twice, really. It's hard. He's in and out of workouts, and we're at different times. I've only worked out with him once, but just really good dudes. I mean, they just want the best for everybody. It's nobody's like too cool or anything like that. Everybody just wants the best for everyone. It's a really cool environment.
Devin, you wouldn't be here if not for what happened with Quinn. I mean, he was the number 1 player. He ends up coming early, leaves. Now you're here. You're the number 1 guy. Do you see kind of a, I don't know, irony or coincidence, or just what do you think of that dynamic?
I mean, I think things worked out. Everything is how it's supposed to be honest. I was committed to USC for a long time, and I think things just worked out for the better, and I think this is just where I'm supposed to be. I think this is how everything was supposed to be mapped out.
And when Quinn left, did you immediately think, well, maybe that's a possibility for me?
I was already committed before he left.
Right.
And so I wanted to come and compete with him. I competed with him at the Elite 11, and I got nothing but respect for him, and I wanted to go out and compete against him. That was my goal.
Devin, when you look at the way this roster is set up right now, and you know that CJ's going to be the starter, that puts you in a different position than maybe other freshmen who want to try and play right away.
Right.
How's that? What is that mindset like when you know that's probably not going to happen in year 1?
Even seeing this year, Kyle got in some games this year. You're really 1 snap away from getting in. So depending where I'm at in spring ball and everything, I could be 1 play away from being in the game. So I still got to attack with that mentality of I could still be playing right away.
Right.
Can you talk about your relationship with Joe Germain and what he's meant to you?
Oh, Coach Germain's the best. I mean, my dad has grown up with his family, and we've known him for the longest time. And his boy Jack, me and him are super close. He's a year below me, and he plays quarterback as well. So he's always texting me, asking me for advice and everything. But, oh, man, Coach Germain, I wouldn't be here without him. And the 2 years that I had with him, 3 years that I had with him, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, he taught me so much, and he was just an overall great person. I mean, his knowledge for the game was incredible. I can't say enough about Coach Germain.
How much did he lobby you about Ohio State?
He was going to be biased about Ohio State because that's his home, but it's kind of funny seeing him all around the building, like all of his pictures and everything, but he just wanted what was best for me.
Whose game at the NFL level or college, I guess, do you kind of see as the way you play, or someone you try to model a little bit?
I kind of try to take bits and pieces from everybody. I really like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's one of the greatest to do it. But also, my all-time favorite quarterback is Peyton Manning, all time. I think a lot of it is just his mental side of the game. I mean, that dude, nobody studied harder than him, nobody knew more than him, and I think that's the biggest guy I want to go after.
You can do a little bit more athletically than Peyton, though, right?
Definitely. A lot of people don't think I'm very athletic, but even some of the coaches are surprised to see me running these past few days. So,
Devin, when you come here, you obviously come here understanding what Ryan can produce, his track record of production not only at this level but in the NFL as well. What's your expectation for that relationship with him and your growth as a player? Is that basically one of the main reasons you're here?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I even tweeted out the other day, developed here, and just look at all the guys we have in the NFL. I mean, Joe Burrow obviously went on to LSU, but he was here and he got developed, and he's even said he wouldn't be where he's at without coming here. And I think Coach Day really knows what he's doing with, every single little thing. I think the biggest thing before I committed, when I came on my visit here to Michigan State, just the attention to detail with everything. Like, they handed me this big old binder about just little things like 1-inch throws and all these little things that I was like, wow, they really pay attention to details and they really want what's best for quarterbacks, and this is why they develop all these guys, and it just blew me out of the water.
When you're talking about that kind of development, it also means patience.
Right.
Because those are part and parcel. You have to be patient through the process, understanding you might not play early on. How does that? We were talking about that a little bit earlier, but how does that? How can you process that when you want to be on the field? You want to be making progress toward your goals, but understanding that it might be painful.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to want to be playing, but you just got to know. I mean, coaches have a plan for you, and they know what's best for the team. You want what's best for the team. At the end of the day, if you're not getting things done, you're not going to be playing, and you want what's best for the team. You want to go win a national championship. So, I mean, you just have to put your time in and just keep your head down, just keep working. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal if you're not playing right away. You're going to get your time.
Devin, George Fitzpatrick was just asked about describing your personality. He said you're goofy. You don't seem like a goofy guy. Is he exaggerating a little bit? Or
No,
are
I
you a pretty
mean,
goofy guy?
no, you'll hear from my family. Anytime you talk to my dad, I bet if you asked him, he'd say I'm goofy, but just kind of a goofy, awkward kid growing up and everything. And, I don't know if you guys have seen, but like my freshman year, I was like 5'8", 115 pounds. I was a little guy and just a gangly little goofy kid growing up, so just how it was.
Well, how would you describe George?
How would I describe George?
Yeah.
A mess. He's my he's my roommate, and we're a little messy, but he's a good guy. I mean, people don't understand how athletic he is. That dude is so athletic. Like, he has the best times for the linemen. He's even up there with some of the skill guys. Like, he's faster than a lot of the skill guys right now, and I helped him play in lacrosse, but he's a good dude. I love that guy.
You were so small as a freshman. When did you kind of realize, or did you believe all along that when I grow, I'm going to be, developed into what you think?
It's funny, like, talking with my quarterback coach, Rudy Carpenter, like, to this day, he'll even say he was my biggest doubter. Like, I was hoping I could go start a high school football team. Like, nobody would have ever expected me to be where I'm at right now. And once I kind of hit that hump and kind of started to grow a little bit, arm got a little stronger, it was like, okay, maybe you could play some high school football. But I think really, like, going into my junior year was when I really realized, like, okay, I could go do this.
And could you just kind of explain your decision to go from Arizona to Utah?
Yeah, there were some family things that went on, so that's all I'm going to keep it out.
Did that prepare you for the winter that you're about to experience?
Definitely. Some of these guys are freezing up here. Like Kai and Ryan are from Florida, and they're like, man, I've never seen snow before. And I was like, I really barely saw it in Arizona where it was 120 in the summers, but moving up to Utah, I was only there for like 6 months, but when I left, there was like 3 feet of snow, so I got used to it pretty quick.
Did you really live on your own?
Yeah, I lived with a family that was one of my receivers, actually, but I was really on my own, to be honest.
I don't know how many of the receivers you got the chance to spend some time around, but you have been around Kojo and you have been around Keon, being up there on American game. Can you just kind of describe them? Just your first impressions of them as receivers?
Oh man, they're some freaks, really. I mean, I had some good dudes in high school, really good dudes that were going to play Division I football as well, but kind of when you go into Ohio State, it's like, wow, I mean, there's a reason why they're at Ohio State, and I mean, they're super smart players too. Like, they understand where they got to be and what their different timings are. It's wild how different they are.
Did Keon, especially Keon, did he do anything that maybe shocked you a little bit?
Keon's just a good dude. I love that dude. Like, me and him had a bond from Arizona, and I mean, he's just so smooth in and out of his routes, and he's just like, he's super smart, super smart. Like, he always knows like every little detail he can see, and it's super cool to see that from him.
How many and I'm sorry if you've been asked this already, how many interactions have you had with CJ Stroud?
Maybe like 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were your impressions of him when you first met him?
Oh, he's a good dude. Like, the first day I got here, I went into the quarterback's room to go meet with Coach Dennis a little bit, and he walked in, introduced himself, and he's just a great dude. He just loves to play ball and loves to be out here.
So you were just talking about how young you was hoping to play high school.
Mm-hmm.
But to get to where you are, there had to be this inner confidence and belief in yourself.
Right.
Where did that come from, and how strong is that?
I think it's super strong. Like I said, once I kind of hit my junior year and I was a little more matured and had more arm strength, I was out throwing with guys that were at the Division I level already, and I was like, wow, I'm keeping up with these guys. If not, I'm throwing better than some of them. And I was like, okay, I guess I could really do this, and now I got to really put the work in if I truly believed in myself. And that's kind of when it hit, like, yeah, I can do this.
And now to be the one service, the number one player in the country, is it still hard to believe?
Very hard to believe. Still can't fathom it.
So when you were a 5'8" freshman, were you like going to bed at night saying, "Please let me grow"? Like, did you like? Were you like, I'm desperate to try to grow into a Division I athlete, or did you just not even think that way?
Honestly, I wasn't even thinking about that. I really wasn't even thinking about my size. I was just trying to put weight on. Like, I was so skinny, I just didn't want to get beat up. Like, really, I just didn't want to get pounded by some dudes. But I mean, I knew, like, I thought I had a good enough arm strength at the time, but really watching my freshman film, thinking I was good at the time, I was like, wow, I got an offer my freshman year too, and that was the thing. Like, I don't know how I was offered at that time, really.
Who offered you?
Wisconsin.
Devin, what's it like?
You at 5'8"?
Yes, offered me off of freshman film. It was funny. So we had a linebacker, Trey Reynolds, who's at Utah now, one of my best friends, and they were out to see him, and I was throwing for him, and I was kind of picking him apart, to be honest. And I was just like a little dude, and the next week they flew out their quarterbacks coach and watched me throw, and they offered me, and I was like, really? Even my dad asked, like, come on, coach, like, really? Is it real? Like, come on, did you see him?
Your dad was hating on you.
Oh yeah, I mean, my dad will be my biggest hater of all time. Like, that's how it should be. If he's not criticizing me on something, something's not right. He's always got to get after me.
Devin, what's it like navigating NIL as a freshman? Have you had any sort of opportunities come up?
Yeah, there's been a couple, but it really hasn't been that big of a deal. I think I really need to start playing before I even worry about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State offers so many resources about NIL. I think last week they offered some more educational or like specific employees about it. What have you taken from them? How invested is Ohio State in NIL for you student athletes?
Oh, they're super invested. It just depends on what you're wanting to do with it. They kind of go after each guy differently depending on how they're going about it. Obviously for me, I'm not all the way for it, but I think it's a good thing for a lot of guys. But obviously, I'm not too worried about it. But the guys that are worried about it, they're doing a really good job of making sure they're doing their taxes and all these stuff to keep them eligible and keep them out of legal trouble.
Gotcha. I also wanted to ask you about Kyle McCord. You mentioned, I think, throwing with him and practicing with him. What are your impressions of him, and what's it like going to be his teammate? Going in next.
Oh, it's gonna be fun these next few years. I really love that guy. I mean, he's been so helpful to me. We've been, like I said, we've been out here throwing 3 times a week, and he's been teaching me so many different things. Like I go in the team room and we gotta go over some stuff with coaches, but they can't coach us out here right now. So Kyle's really been kind of a coach for me right now, and I can't thank him enough for how helpful he's really been right now.
Can you explain a little more the attention to detail stuff you were talking about with Ohio State? The binder. Mm-hmm. When did that binder come out?
So I don't even have it right now, but they gave me a binder the day on my visit, and they wanted to show me like just how attention to detail they were. I mean, the binder was probably this thick. It was one of the probably 8 binders that we'll have.
About quarterback
play, fronts, like every single thing we need to look at, every single thing.
And when you see that binder, are you like, oh my God, this binder's gigantic? Or are you like, awesome binder?
No, that was the thing that blew me out of the water. Like, man, they really know what they want, and they really know what we need to know. And that's why guys have success out of here, is because how much they really go into everything. And compared to other schools, obviously every school is going to have different ways of teaching, but I just knew that was it because of how much they're really going to get after me.
Have you seen the binder again since you got here?
I haven't really looked at it much. They give me portions of it.
Little pieces.
Yeah, just little pieces.
Binders, what convinced you in the end, or at least clinched?
It was definitely a big factor for sure.
Devin, CJ's talked about how you kind of got off the fact that maybe his best skill set is his mind.
Yeah.
And the way he thinks the game, the way what would you say your best trait is as a quarterback right now, before Ryan Day and Corey Dennis have really gotten their hands on it?
I would say the same, really. It really helped me being in 2 different offenses. Coach Germain's was so complex for a high school team, and it was honestly very similar to kind of here. And then I went to a spread offense in Utah, and it was not as long and very different. So I think it really just, football's football at the end of the day. It's all terminology and how people read different things. So it was actually really good for me to go up there and see the different offense and learn from Coach Kerr, who's, a genius when it comes to football. And so I think that has really helped me.
So when you say it's your mind, can you play on Friday? Mm-hmm. What's a week of preparation starting Sunday look like?
I mean, so we're only practicing 3 days a week, 3 full practices and then walk through Thursday. But I mean, every day I'm meeting with Coach about what they're doing defensively, what kind of fronts are running, what kind of blitzes we're going to see, anything like that, and different tendencies that we're going to go after, or different guys that we think we have mismatches on. So.
First page of that binder, first page of that binder, what did it say?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest.
I mean, was it get the snap? I mean, was it something basic?
Yeah, I mean, there was fronts, coverages, protections, different buckets of pass concepts. Each little concept is under a category called buckets. So.
Yeah. But that first page, did it grab your attention? Was it an attention grabber?
I don't even remember what the first page was, but just how detailed everything was. They kind of showed me different things throughout the whole thing, and it wasn't really the first page, but.
Yeah, gotcha.
Coach Germain's offense was kind of based off the Ram stuff, right? That he was doing in the NFL. Was that a lot to pick up as a high school quarterback? And how did you kind of handle that?
Definitely. It was definitely complex. It was more complex than anything I've ever run. But how well he taught it was really what helped me, and I was in there a lot with Coach Germain, watching film with him before games, and I struggled the first year, to be honest. I threw more picks than I did touchdowns, and I think just a year of developing in that offense and learning really what's going on, because at first you're just hearing words and just looking at what's going on. You're not actually understanding who's going to come, when am I hot, things like that. So I think over time it just was really what helped me.
Is there a lot of drop back stuff in that offense, or were you still mostly out of the gun?
No, it was all under center, really. There was a couple gun stuff, but we were mostly under center.
How much then, I I guess, was it appealing to Ohio State's coaches that you had, I guess, experience in like a traditional pro-style offense and then more of a pro-style
Definitely, it definitely
style
helped them come after me. It helped with a lot of schools too, just knowing that I could be in different offenses and not just be so one-dimensional.
What do you think you have to work on? What's the number one thing that you think you have to improve on, show coaches?
I'd say the biggest thing here is just timing right now. Obviously, I got to get in the playbook and learn all that stuff. Like, I'm so new to it right now, and I've been meeting with coaches about it pretty much every day, going through all that stuff. But a big thing is timing. Just guys are so much faster. The routes are so much smoother, and I think out here throwing has really helped get that down and understand really, like, yeah, it is a lot faster than high school.
I think there's a bit of a good cop, bad cop dynamic with the coaches. Coach Day kind of prided himself on being the bad cop.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? What do you think about knowing that you're going to probably not get a lot of praise?
I think that's the best thing for me. I think every quarterback should be getting ripped. Like, honestly, Coach Kerr at Corner Canyon, like, he was ripping me all the time. And he even said, like, one day after a game, I didn't play very well, and he came up to my dad, and he's like, man, I don't like it right now. He's just taking it so well, how bad I'm getting after him. He just doesn't say anything. He's just cool. Like, I think it's the best thing for you. Just, like, he shouldn't be soft on you at all.
Why do you think you have that attitude?
I mean, when you mess up, and you got to fix it. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. I want it to be exactly how it was. You know, if I did something bad, tell me I did it bad. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, you're okay. Like, no, it shouldn't be like that. You're not going to get places like that.
Have you gone back and watched like how this passing game has looked with Wayne and then Justin and then CJ? And I know it's been fairly consistent, but there's little things that I think Coach Day accentuates depending on the skills of those or strength of those guys. Like, have you watched all three of those, and is there any one that you think might be more similar to how you look?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say maybe closer to CJ, but I think I definitely have that athleticism to move around and get more running yards and stuff like that. But I think more CJ and just how much we really aired out.
How about, like, they didn't do it with Wayne, they didn't do it much with CJ, but with Justin, there was a lot of, like, under center play action stuff, or I think more verticality in the offense, and it seems like you have the arm strength to maybe operate in those kind of areas as well. Like, do you feel like that's a strength of yours?
Definitely. We threw a lot of go balls and deep routes in Utah, so I think that's definitely helped me this year.
The first time that Ohio State really popped into your head as a possibility was when?
So, Coach Alford, the running backs coach, called me, and it was actually through like a recruiting guy in Utah, and I was like, I mean, there's no way Ohio State's coming after me. Like, no way. It's the running backs coach. I didn't really believe it. He's like, no, man, they're seriously interested in you. And really, when it hit me was when Coach Dennis flew out to our practice and watched me throw, and it was a raining practice. The ball was like 10 pounds, but we were still just getting after it. Like, it was dumping on us. And Coach Dennis has a video, and he's just standing out there. He's in like jeans and a shirt, and it's maybe 20 degrees and just pouring rain on him. And he just loved it. Like, from that day, he just knew that like I was the guy that he wanted. And from that day, the next day, Coach Day called me and offered me, and that's kind of when I knew. When they actually flew out, that's when I knew.
No little Ohio State sprinkles working with Joe Germain?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he was always talking about it when I was in Arizona. He was always talking about Ohio State, but at the time I didn't even have nobody was talking to me from here or anything, so he really wasn't saying much until they truly offered me and kind of got down to the wire. But I mean, like I said, he really wasn't pushing it at all. But I think in his head he really was. And then now that I actually am here, he's so happy.
How quick when he spoke of Ohio State? When he spoke of Ohio State, what did he talk about? What did he say?
Just the memories that he had and just how bonded he was with that team. It's funny because at Queen Creek, I mentioned Trey Reynolds, who's a linebacker at Utah. Yeah. His dad was our athletic director, and he played safety for ASU with Pat Tillman in the Rose Bowl game. Oh, wow. Coach Germain went down and beat him in that game. Yeah. And they're together at the same high school and like closest friends. So it's a funny like dynamic there, and they're always messing with each other. But Coach Germain just tells us all about his stories and the Team Up North games and all the different memories that he's had. But he just he can't stress enough of how much he just loved the family environment here. It was just for him.
Devin, when you were offered here, you were committed to USC at the time. Was it difficult to make that decision to decommit from USC?
Definitely. I mean, I was so close with Coach Harrell and Coach Dagan. I still am to this day. And yeah, I mean, wish I really could have played for those guys, and I really love them. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think this is where I'm supposed to be, and I really love Coach Dennis and Coach Day, and I'm so happy to be here.
What's it been like to kind of see what's been going on out at USC now with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams out there?
Oh, it's wild. It's a wild world, and they Coach Riley called me the day after I committed, and I hadn't put anything out yet. And he was trying to come do a home visit, and I was like, I think I already made my decision. So it was a weird deal because they never said anything to me about it, and it was like, I don't know. It was a very weird deal.
Devin,
You're happy it all
what the
turned out
quarterback world is like now. We've all been war. You just got here. It's a tough question to ask you. You really don't know this, but just in your mind, your heart, how committed are you to being here through the ups and downs?
Oh, I'm here through and through. Never even thought about transferring. Like, that'll never come in my mind.
What stands out about Caden Curry? You've been around him a little bit. What jumps out at you about him?
When you think of a D lineman, I feel like you think of some big old dude that just gets after it. But he's not the biggest guy, but he just gets after it. He really does, and he's proved it at the All-American game. He was getting after guys, getting after big old dudes that are going and playing the SEC and stuff. And he really proved himself. And me and him are actually really close. Our rooms are right by each other, and we're in the same classes and stuff. That's why I love that guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a buzz about him, right? As that week went along, right?
Yep. There really was.
What was the buzz?
Nobody really expected it, to be honest. Yeah. Everybody kind of thought, just a little white kid, like he's not gonna be able to do anything, and he got after the guys.
Yeah. Hey, Devin, one other thing. If you're sitting here right now, you're sitting at Ohio State. What do you think, just from a throwing the ball standpoint? What is that one throw? If you could watch a guy make that throw that tells you whether he's ready, he can take that next step to the big time and stuff. What is that one throw that you knew when you finally got it down that this could take you places? You understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
An over-the-top kind of thing, deep out. What is that throw that separates the
honestly,
the good
probably
from the elite, the number one player in the country? I guess
it could be an out, to be honest, like a 10-yard speed out or something like that. When you got guys that can really move, you got to get it out on time, quick, and it's got to be at the right spot where a corner can't undercut it or anything. But honestly, you can tell from like one throw. It doesn't even matter what throw it is. Like coaches, when I was getting recruited, like coaches could tell if I was a guy or not just off of one throw.
Yeah.
I've had schools come out and watch me throw one quick slant, and then the next day, like I've already been offered. Like I don't know. I don't know how people can see it, but they can just kind of tell off of one throw.
How big are you, and how big do you want to get?
Right now I'm 6'3", and I weighed 196 this morning. They want me to be 210 by spring game.
That's why you got the muscle milk down there.
Yeah, muscle milk down here. There you go.
Yeah, how are you going to do that?
There's a Raising Cane's around the corner.
See you there. Good luck getting through the drive-thru then.
Yeah, it's pretty long, but no, we got the food up there, and they're giving us all the meals we can have, and I've been taking to-go containers, and right after class getting like 6 meals in a day. So it's like another workout, to be honest.
Enjoy it now.
Pounding down the food. So
you like 9-hour drive from your hometown to USC? Is that what it roughly would have been?
From Utah, yeah. From where my parents are in Arizona, where my whole family is in Arizona, it's like a 6-hour drive.
Okay. So when you committed to USC, did that feel, for lack of a better word, like a hometown school, like a local? And the question I'm asking is then, when Ohio State comes in, and Ohio State's, not down the road, you got to fly here, right? I'm just trying to figure out your thought process of, did you think maybe I was going to stick closer to home, and then all of a sudden you're not?
Yeah, distance was never an issue for me, to be honest.
Okay.
To be honest, I wouldn't want to live where USC is at. That's a pretty rough area outside of campus. I would not want to live there.
Okay.
And it was strictly football. And so when I kind of was exploring other options, it really wasn't a big deal. But actually, there's a direct flight straight from where my parents live to here, and it's like 3 hours, so it's not a big deal at all.
So when the Ohio State idea, you didn't have to get over a hump of
No.
you just want to go where the best football fit. You would have gone anywhere in the country where you felt like I fit football-wise here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Devin, in your incoming class, a guy like Caleb Burton, everybody talks about Texas wide receivers and whatnot. What are your impressions of him, and just how excited are you to get to play alongside him?
Yeah, when we got out the first, what was that? We got out like the third day we were here. Me, him, and Keon were the only ones really throwing. We had a couple of DBs going after him too, but he's just so electric, and he's just, I don't know, he just kind of jumps for the ball. He just has a big frame and catch radius, to be honest. I did not expect him. He's so just smooth, and I don't know, he's just so twitchy.
So you say electric, is that more of his football skills? What's he like kind of off the field as well?
He's a good dude. He's just kind of chill and relaxed, just kind of doesn't say much, just kind of hangs out, but he's a good dude.
Gotcha. Thanks. Who are your favorite quarterbacks to watch? I love the way that guy plays.
I would definitely say Joe Burrow for sure. I think he just carries a moxie and a mentality about him that definitely anybody can admire. But on the field, he's just kind of a dude, really, and just kind of has that swag about him. But I think there's a lot of guys. I really don't have one favorite guy in the NFL, and you just kind of want to match your game after all of them because all of them are doing great things, and they're all in the NFL.
It's funny you say Burrow because, I mean, just talking to you, he kind of had that presence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how important is that for you as a quarterback and obviously to be a leader as a quarterback to kind of exude that kind of confidence? Do you see yourself, a little Joe Burrow in you?
Definitely. You have to have it. You have to have that mentality and just kind of way about you. Even this year, at first I was maybe like a little timid at the beginning of the season. In Utah, I was on my own, things like that. But towards the end of the season, like in the state game and the semifinals games, it's kind of to start to feel it more and talking trash a little bit. Like when I make a good play, I'm like hyping guys up, and that really just kind of builds an energy around your team. And guys really won't get after it unless you're getting after it. And it's just you got to show your team that you're really about it.
Did having to be in a new environment like that really help with that? Now that you're
100%.
have to do it again.
100%. Yeah, it made it 10 times easier. It really doesn't even feel like I moved away again. It just felt like I was already moved away.
Is that swagger and mentality? Do you see that in this quarterback room right now? Like that you're in, like through the guys that you're with? Or?
It's hard because we really haven't had quarterback meetings yet, and we really haven't had a full team workout or anything like that.
Devin, obviously, you just mentioned guys in the NFL. Is that a big reason why you're here at Ohio State, because you believe Ryan Day can help you get to the NFL?
Definitely. That's the end goal for sure.
What is it about maybe Ohio State that stood out from other schools in terms of their ability to get you to the NFL?
Like I said, the attention to detail. They showed me a couple clips too after showing me that binder and everything, and just of how I can't even fathom, I can't even put it into words of how really they put so much into it, and I could just tell that these guys develop people. This is why they're really going places. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
You were a late addition to the class. You didn't really get to recruit for Ohio State very much. Now you're coming into a quarterback room that has an established starter. When do you try to start to show a little bit of those leadership skills that you like to think that you have? And do you try to do that right away, or do you kind of ease into it?
Right away. You got to show it out here. We're conditioning every morning before we work out and everything. You got to show it. You got to show you're getting after it. You got to show you're really putting in the work. We wear the zebra thing, and it shows your scores and your effort, your speed, and everything like that. And if you're really up there, it definitely helps. You got to show that you're really, really getting after it.
There's kind of been a reputation that Ohio State quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL. Is there motivation in trying to be one of the people to change that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, without a doubt.
You consider Joe Burrow an Ohio State quarterback?
I do. And like I said, he's mentioned it too, that he wouldn't be where he's at without being here.
Yeah. Did you find yourself rooting for him the last couple of weeks?
Definitely.
When you're watching those games, and
Mm-hmm.
you talk about what stood out about him, but just the tenaciousness of sticking with it, running when he had to, etc. How does the quarterback kind of develop that feel, do you think, Devin? A lot of people here were on CJ all year for not running very much.
Yeah, that was a big thing on me too. I had negative rushing yards my first 2 years of playing varsity, and then I really didn't run the ball until this year. I never did. Kind of didn't have a backup or anything like that in Arizona, so that was kind of a deal. But
yeah.
It just kind of comes naturally, to be honest. I think too many guys try to think about throwing, I got to get out, or being scared or anything like that, but it just got to come natural, and you just got to know you got to put your team in right spots at the right time, and if something's not there, don't force anything, just pick it up with your legs.
Going back to that binder though, when do you think you will feel, through all the stuff you've got to learn about this offense, how long do you think it'll take you to feel simple? You know what I mean? That things are just clicking. I know you haven't been through it yet, so it's kind of hard to say, but
right.
Is that a lot to disseminate?
It's definitely a lot. I think the biggest thing though is just knowing the terminology and being able to communicate what's really going on, because different guys say things differently, and at the end of the day, smash is smash.
Yeah.
Just it depends on how you call it. And so like I said, it's just how you communicate it. But the fronts and defensive coverages and blitzes, those are probably the biggest thing for me right now. And then really once you start getting those pass concepts, all of them are really going to be, you've already seen them before.
Devin,